I wanted to add some understanding of the neuroscience of conflict. When we perceive a conflict as a threat to our identity, status, or belonging, when we perceive that threat in those ways, our amygdala, which is part of our limbic system, triggers a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. And even mild social threats, such as being interrupted when you're talking, if your culture does not embrace interrupting, or when you're excluded when you think you should be included, can trigger this response. There's varying intensity, and even low intensity things can engage our amygdala. It's called an amygdala hijack, when it drives your behavior, versus the prefrontal cortex, which is more where we have judgment and executive function engages. So during conflict, even some minor ones, our amygdala gets more active, we have more cortisol in the system, and we go into one of those fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and we'll talk more about those in a second. The other part of neuroscience that's very involved in this are mirror neurons, because what they've found, which is fascinating, is that emotions are contagious. So if you walk into a room and that room was, the people in the room had an argument before that, or were in conflict of some kind, or tense or anxious or angry, and you walk in and they're still there, you will immediately start to pick up on their emotional states. You might sense it. You may not be conscious of it, but your body will react to it by looking at the nonverbals of the people there, or hearing their language will trigger that in you, or could trigger that in you too. What's really fascinating is they've found that emotions can do what's called chemosignaling, emotional chemosignaling. And what that means is when you come into that same space, but everyone's gone, so they're not there anymore, and you don't know that they had conflict before you got there, and you walk in, there's almost like a chemtrail left by the emotions in the space. So it can affect people that come in after. So if you come to a meeting in the same room that someone else had a meeting in, and theirs was contentious, and you all come in for the next meeting, you may catch some of those emotions through the chemosignaling process, where you start to feel sad or angry or frustrated, but you don't know exactly why, because it's left over. It's not something that originated with you and the things happening in your life. In the same way, if you enter a room and they're calm and they had a great experience and they're happy or optimistic, and they're not there anymore, you might start feeling that way. It'll add to whatever emotional state you have when you come in. So this is newer research, so they're starting to learn to measure it better. But it just shows how impactful emotions are in the human experience, and that we can start to feel conflict even when we haven't experienced it directly in our work environments. So it's good to be aware of that, because sometimes we're like, why am I so sad? Or why am I happy? Or why am I angry? I can't think of something that has caused this. It could be because of emotional chemosignaling, or it could be that your mirror neurons, which have the ability to receive the emotions of others when you see them, you can pick up on that. And those are preconscious. So mirror neurons can pick up on emotion before you know you're picking up on the emotions of others, and can start to affect you. So part of conflict management is awareness, and being aware of what makes us work physiologically, as well as what kinds of things cause conflict, how to de-escalate, how to calm yourself. But knowing neuroscience today is so useful to go along with the other cognitive information that we're covering.